is engage customers, and we have a lot of sessions planned for the day. We have an awesome team here. I have Arya, Harish, and Karan joining with me from the team's engineering side, and I'm Srinidhi. Super excited for this session. A bunch of housekeeping before we get started with this session. One, like I said, we have multiple sessions that are planned in both showcases from our end, from the app's perspective, and also some interesting aspects of the partners that we're working as. And apart from that, if any of these scenarios or solutions so we can see this. Okay. So while we navigate through the entire, scenarios and showcases today, if you are interested in any particular scenario or solution, we would float a form towards end of this session, and please feel free to reach out to us via this form, and we can have a one-on-one connection further and do a deep dive into your scenario as well. Utilize the chat to ask questions, and if we have time towards the end of the session, we will take a couple of these questions to discuss in this meeting itself. Now that's it for the rules part of it. I'm super excited to get started with it. Can I get a thumbs up or go ahead if we are all okay to get started? Awesome. Okay, quickly moving on. Awesome. So hybrid work is here to stay. What it actually means is due to unforeseen circumstances, we all were to very quickly adopt a remote work, remote nature, but we did find some tangible benefits of it, around the corner. And right now we are super comfortable working remotely or from anywhere in the world, right? So it's just a study that's done by Microsoft Research, which says that 70% of the employees actually want some level of flexibility when it comes to working remote, and 80% of the organization leaders are actually supporting this entire endeavor. But what does this actually mean to the organizations? On one end of the spectrum, there are multiple applications today that power your business processes, which means you would have a lot of application where you need to go and do particular tasks and activity. And in the remote hybrid world, there are just the number of applications that are coming into the periphery are just growing exponentially. This means that we have multiple portals, one portal to go apply leave, one portal to go claim reimbursements, so on and so forth, which means that we have so much of login password to actually maintain. And all of these are a lot of context switching for the employees who have to go from one browser tab to the other to actually get their work done. And the idea of, or the collaborative future is actually where we get all of these applications in one place so that we are more flexible as well as productive in performing all of these tasks. So that brings us into a nice segue of how Microsoft Teams can actually help us get to where we want to do. So today, Teams enable us to stay connected with all of our team members, though we are all working remote. It's been close to 18 months, and all of us at Microsoft have been working remotely. And it's only because of Teams and the way how we are able to seamlessly stay connected has been powering our entire work nature, right? And the second one is to basically collaborate seamlessly with everybody, which means be it co-authoring on a file, deciding on what presentation do we do for CART, and everything, making it easier and seamless in one go. And towards the end, it's all about bringing or extending this Teams capability to bring in your own work automation or workflows and integrating that into Teams and making it all the more secure and compliant to ensure that we do all of this right inside of Teams, which will reduce a lot of context switching, which we just spoke about. It would not necessarily have to mean that we have to remember a lot of portal, a lot of URL, and a lot of login credentials to actually get to that particular task that we need to do as well. Now, how do we actually get to it, right? What does it actually mean to integrate business processes into teams? And that's essentially where we have a host of platform capabilities on teams, which will actually empower us to do more of this. Now, for most of you who have already been exposed to the aspects of platform, in one way or the other, all of these are just surfaces or components inside of Teams application, which would allow us to surface any of your workflows or business processes right inside of Teams. Imagine a particular dashboard that you would want to get in. There is a customer metrics or a customer DSAT that we are tracking as a team. And if we want to bring that into a dashboard, we might already have this dashboard somewhere outside in a Power BI or anywhere, but getting that as a part of Teams tab will actually make sure that there is more collaboration on top of how we are interpreting this data. And in more than one ways, a lot of applications that we access today are very personal. Like for example, if I want to go ahead and apply leave for myself, I basically go into my vacation portal to basically look into and apply leave for myself. And um, basically go ahead and look to apply leave for myself, which is just unique and personal to me. I would not necessarily have to make sure that my team is aware of it, and that's where the whole bot construct comes into picture. Now, right in this meeting, when I want to quickly share a form, when I want to quickly brainstorm with my team members about what are different aspects that we can do, that's essentially where we have meeting extensibility, right? While all of these are just surface of how we can render a particular information, your backend can literally be anything where we fetch this or collect this information from. So we can have your low code, no code application, which can integrate seamlessly with any of these surfaces, or we could have, your entire line of business application that you have custom coded yourself within your organization and get that into Teams as well. So we'll talk a little more about how all of these can come together in a very seamlessly collaborative fashion. So quickly moving on, what it means to actually build and create collaborative application is you can literally start from anywhere in this whole stack of this. While most of this, so fundamentally we can start off with the whole no code, low code solutions, wherein we're not really spending a lot of time developing a particular application, but this is just to quickly get some automation done, to quickly get some scenarios tested and make it available for everybody in the organization, to creating your own custom line of business application and utilizing any of these tech stacks, really, be it any logic that you would want to use, any data backend where you want to store this information, or provide any kind of authentication in a way of how we maintain individual identity. But all of these, once hosted on Teams or once deployed into Teams as an application, it just becomes device agnostic. Now, what I mean by device agnostic is basically one app that can basically be rendered from any of the other devices that you're using, be it Android, be it Apple, be it your Windows laptop, or be it your whole Linux laptop, or anything and everything that can basically surface the entire application that we create on Teams. This largely removes the whole dependency or having to create, maintain application in different platforms, and going on a quarterly check-in or a annual check-in to basically take care of the updates or any performance issue that's going to come across all of the application, which might be specific to some of these devices. Now, taking this or breaking this down a little further, what does collaboration app mean to an organization is essentially how we as an organization are able to find certain information from these Teams application, which increases discoverability of any of the processes or scenario that I want to do, gives me an ability to collaborate real time and synchronize with everybody in my organization to get a particular task done. One similar example that we just saw was how do I co-author with somebody in my organization to get a particular documentation done on time? How do I collaborate seamlessly and in a synchronized fashion to get the whole PowerPoint presentation done? While synchronization or working, in sync with our team members are important, it's also very efficient, and it also makes a lot of sense when we have to engage as synchronized with our team members in a time that's convenient for all of us, right? So this also ensures that having the same application in a more collaborative fashion for everybody will ensure that there is more engagement and teamwork that can either happen in real time or async, but the information is just updated simultaneously for all of them at the same time. Now, this would also mean that we are crafting an end-to-end solution. So an employee is able to do all of their particular tasks right inside Teams for them. There is no real context switching. And if the same employee would want to share any other information with their team members, they would have an option to go ahead and do that by having an ability to sharing a particular information in a Teams channel or sharing the same information in a group kind of a scenario. The next aspect of this is basically creating the whole investment of it, which is increasing the usage of the application, which is basically your native application that's hosted in the backend. But by surfacing it into Teams, it's just easy two-step click or a process for everybody to come and access the application to get their task or work done. And all of this means that we are having Teams as one single organizing layer to get any of your tasks done. Now that is a great segue into what we're going to see today as engaging customers. So we have a lot of business transformation that our customers around the world are doing today or right inside of Teams, be it them empowering their employees, providing employee productivity related application, which we saw in our last card. And today we will be focusing more on engaging customers. Now, what does it actually mean to engage with customers is what is the session all about today, and how to effectively do that within Teams is what we'll be looking at as well. Now, while these four core pillars are essentially where we are able to get some of the horizontal or vertical scenarios, we can, while most of these are just elaborate in the way how some of our customers are imagining transforming their productivity inside of Teams. We are going to be very specifically focusing on some of the enablement process, be it the whole sales cycle, reaching out to customer before a deal, scheduling and onboarding their sessions, back-to-back calls. How do we do that more effectively? To what happens once a particular prospect becomes our customer, engaging in customer support, enabling them for success, engaging and keeping track of all the work that they do, and basically just having a lot of external collaboration that we do with our customers and internally transferring all of that information to a particular application or source where we can go ahead and gather information from this and make sense out of the data all in one place. Now, from here, I will hand it over to Harish to take care of some of the scenarios and solutions that we would be talking in more depth fashion on engaging customers.
Hey, awesome. Thank you so much, Srinidhi. Gonna assume everybody can see me and hear me. Hey, thank you so much. Absolutely right. And today we're going to focus on engaging customers, and if we treat the entire customer life cycles, it's right from, when you start bringing in customers into your pipeline and you start to engage with them, you acquire them, and all the way up to you supporting them, retaining them, and allowing them to evangelize what you do as a business. The mantra or the equation we wanted to come up with was very simple. If you're using Teams, which is going to be the hub for collaboration, what we want you to do is to ultimately sell effectively, and and to do that is coming together, utilizing the various features within Teams, let's say channels where you can come together, group chats and meetings where you can come together to reach out to the right person, collaborate, share information, and the other half being gathering insights. And when I say this, I don't say gathering insights as, big data or anything. It's being able to access the right information in the flow of the conversation, being able to share information. In fact, being able to find information as a team and consume it as a team together, so that as an organization or as a sales function, you're able to share expertise, share learning, share ideas, and be successful as a team. The interesting bit is actually this is 30th of September. It's quarter three closing. So I really hope some of the ideas that we shared today are going to be beneficial maybe in the next quarter. If any of what we shared today spark ideas that is going to push the envelope for your team, and how they are going to push productivity, we would love to help, and to make sure that you make the best of teams that's already available to you. Now, as Srinidhi mentioned, with collaborative apps being the centerfold, and Teams as a platform allows you to have access in so many different ways to all the apps that already exist inside of Teams. One way to look at it is to start with ready to use applications. If you haven't checked out already, go to the store inside of your Teams tenant. Go and see that we've already developed and have available ready to use plug and play apps. Some of which are free, ready to use, some of which you might be using outside of Teams, and you'll be pleasantly surprised that those apps are already available inside of Teams. So for you to start using them. And of course, if you don't find an app there which you are using, um, feel free to reach out to us and tell us if that's an app that you would like to use inside of Teams, and we'll see what we can do. Then comes in almost, I would say, from a few clicks comes to a few hours of work, where you are able to use our low code no code solutions to easily start building apps or creating workflows together easily, so that people can. Sorry, was there a question? Okay, so that you can create simple workflows, and that will allow you to build simple productivity solutions inside of Teams. And then the other end that you can see is, hey, let's say you have a business scenario and a business challenge, and you would like for us to build something very custom, so that it will enable your team. Would be happy to do that, because Teams is a surface and Teams is a UX layer, and we're able to, as Srinidhi showed, we're able to plug in so many different technologies together, so that you can realize what you're looking for and whatever is specific to your organization's needs. For the next 10 minutes, maybe I'll try and focus on what's ready to use today, what's plug and play and available for you to push collaboration, and maybe some examples also on the low code, no code solutions that your organization can start using at the earliest. Starting off, best way to kick off collaboration, if you haven't already been doing this, is utilizing files. Whenever a file gets shared inside of Teams, in like a chat or a channel, you have the ability to not only open, let's say if it's from the Office suite as a file, you not only have the ability to open it from the apps that are available, the relevant apps, but also right inside of Teams itself. And this allows co-authoring, co-editing. And I can see from a sales perspective, if you are developing your sales pitch, if you want to review that right before you go on a call, and if you want to, if and somebody shares that in, let's say, in a chat or a channel, you being able to open it right there, review it, and complete your review and go back to what you were doing. Or maybe it's a PDF, or let's say it's a proposal or an RFP that you would like to build together as a team. You're able to start by creating the file itself inside of Teams. You're able to pull and comment and bring in the right people into that file, and all of them are able to collaborate and complete what they wanted to do right there. The idea being that we're able to cut on time and distance and effort that's being put in, but also foster collaboration, because now that file is readily available. It's within that chat. It's under the file section within the channel or chat for anybody to always go in and access. And of course, if you use the search bar and search for any of the files that you're looking for, you're probably going to find all of them right there. Of course, Excel. I mean, if it's sales and it's numbers at the end of the day, you being able to share trends and share forecasts and revenue summaries and all of it right inside of Teams, you end up creating within relevant channels for each of the sales teams and sales functions. You end up creating a central repository almost where they can always go in and access the relevant files, easily share the relevant files, and consume information together as a team. There is no more isolations, and whether it's remote or let's say in the next quarter, it's going to be hybrid or maybe by next year, we are still able to ensure that people are able to get together and collaborate right inside of teams by accessing the information that they want to access easily. The next thing I would say is, apart from the files that you create and share, now you might be using different applications, different CRMs where you really store all your customers' information and where you build and manage the end-to-end process of your entire pipeline. You being able to easily have, we have integrations where you're able to easily share information. A quick example where you're having a quick sync or a daily or a monthly review within the sales team itself, and using the integrations, the ready to use integrations that we have. And you're probably seeing a simple example of Zoho CRM here, where they want to talk about a particular lead or a particular opportunity. You're able to quickly share that within chat itself, and in the flow of the conversation with all the relevant information that you want to see. And people are able to collaborate right there over it. They understand what's needed. They're able to perform the next set of actions with links that will take them straight to the CRM. We have quite a few CRMs and integrations available already inside of Teams. I'd say go check it out. If you use a CRM that's not available, like I said earlier, feel free to reach out to us and we'll see what parts of it that we can bring in that's going to help your team be more informed, quick to engage in terms of completing their actions. Can we bring nudges from your CRM to, let people know in Teams that there are actions being performed and, they need to do, the next set of actions right there. But it's a great example of how in the flow of the conversation, you are consuming information together as a team and pulling in relevant information without having to leave the conversation or the meeting itself. I'd say the next thing that we can think of is, once you've built your pipeline, you have your customers ready and you want to start thinking about, building these plans and, assigning tasks. This is my favorite bit because this is something that we also regularly do. Is every time we come out with a plan of action, we want to immediately assign tasks. We have multiple productivity tools, and I'd say project management tools that's going to allow you to prioritize tasks, assign it to folks, build checklists, build have priorities and due dates. You can start out with a tool like Tasks by Planner, which comes straight out with Microsoft, or if you're using something outside, let's say it's a Kanban board, or if it's Trello, or if it's any of the other project management tools, we possibly have integrations with them already. And I'd say try it out. This way, right within the channel, as you can see here, within this fictitious organization, the Contoso sales team under business accounts, they have a task tab where anybody who's part of the team and the channel, they can always go in and as an individual get a comprehensive view of what is where, what's in progress, what needs to be done next. They know who to ping. We're cutting down on time to discover information. We're cutting down on time to search and find out what's going on. We as a team almost have this one giant dashboard where you can always go and find out what's happening, and you're able to quickly complete tasks based on that. And again, emphasizing that most of these solutions are ready to use. If you already are using the app outside of Teams, I'd say go today and try it inside of Teams and see if that makes a difference and tell us about it. There you go. I've got a few other examples as well right here to make it depending on the app that you use, to make it more relevant to the kind of features that you might be needing, or to make it a little bit more fun and interactive, as you can see right there. Next, I would say is comes the real deal of actually completing sales, and you managing docs, and you want the sign off. You want to bring the customer on board. We have a couple of applications, depending on what you use, where you're able to manage your documentation, where you're able to, collaborate right when you build these documents for which you need sign offs, and you're able to send, receive, and manage all of them right inside of Teams. Just showing you a quick example here with Zoho Sign, which we have inside of Teams, where you're able to view, review as a team, ensure you tag the right folks, and of course, you can send it out to the right folks to get the signature. So in within teams, as you get the approval saying, right, let's go do this and let's get this signed off, the app exists right there and you can have it pinned on the side rail. As you can see that Zoho sign is right here within the side panel for this particular user. You can have it right there where you're able to quickly go access, see all the documents that you've sent and received, what you've shared, see the status of it, and you're able to complete tasks easily. In fact, as a future state, what we want to do, when I keep saying in the flow of the conversation or really in the flow of action, is if you, a really good future state is being able to do live, signing, to resonate really with what would happen in real life. And I'd like to show you like a small clip of what we are, gunning for. Is, let's say you actually go meet a customer and you get the sign off in person, and that's more of a real life thing. But what if you're able to do that in to support what's going to be hybrid or remain virtual even for a bit, is being able to, in a Teams meeting, share the file or share the document for which you want the sign off, and then being able to receive the file right there within the meeting itself. And they're able to access this file, they're able to review this file, and once they sign off, you can also get the notification right inside the meeting itself that they've actually completed the sign off. It's the idea of bringing people closer, and it's the idea of resonating with real life, which is what we're all comfortable with, even though we're all working from home, and being able to complete the sign off right inside the meeting. There's no there's sending in an email and waiting, none of that's there. You're able to actually have the conversation, do the review with the customer right inside the meeting itself. And if everybody's good, nothing like closing. In fact, if you're closing deals at the end of the month, nothing like it. So nothing like closing a deal and getting the sign off right there inside the meeting itself. But this is a future state one that we're working on, that is going to allow you to do such things right then and there. Um, I would say now I'm going to switch a little bit over to low code, no code tools. This is where, if you haven't capitalized on the Power Platform already, I'd say go for it. Check it out. We're able to use, say, Power BI to build extensive dashboards that's going to give you in-depth insights. Karan, go for it. You have a question?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, yeah.
the last example that you showed, what I find really interesting is while this really helps in customer connects and closing deals, like you mentioned, I think if we just take a step back, that really helps just transforming some paper pen processes internally as well, right? When it comes to document approvals and getting certain memos or documents moving in the line of chain of command, right? And a lot of that requires to what happens today is printouts. You go to people, get it signed, then move ahead. I think all of that can be incorporated using tools that you showed about, right?
Absolutely, and I can think of so many different like scenarios where we can digitally transform the whole paper pen thing today, and that would be across verticals, right? Where you're able to quickly share a file, and you probably have templates. You're able to create the file as a team, send it across, get the signature, what like done, either sent across online or like you said, right there, in the meeting itself. No, great point, Karan. Thanks for that. Yeah. Um, and as you get more sign-offs and as you start to build your pipeline and you start to enjoy revenue, this is you're able to also visualize and stay on top of what your team is doing, and all of that again. And again, I'm emphasizing that this is a sales report and you are observing that you can see sales performance inside a channel. They've got a dedicated channel setup for monthly reports where over a period of at any point of time, you can always come here and look at the Power BI and get a snapshot of what's happening. It over a period of time, it becomes the place for anybody who comes and goes inside the organization. It becomes that central point where all things related to reports are inside that channel, and you've got the tab where you can quickly access this Power BI. I'm going to quickly move. Of course, this is another example where inside a meeting, they're probably just sharing a view. We're coming out with some fantastic extensibilities inside meetings itself, where you don't even have to share. You can actually, pull information right inside the meeting and show, more of which we'll share during the course of this call. Next thing I would say is Power Virtual Agent, one of my favorites in terms of low code, no code solutions. And I can think of how your sales team can get trained using the virtually, or having a virtual assistant to get trained, having a virtual assistant to fetch information quickly. Or if you don't know who to connect with, can you have a simple assistant who will, based on who you're looking for, being able to quickly find the person and set up a connect with them. And I'm just sort of really scratching the surface here. I can think of multiple scenarios where having a simple virtual agent for your sales team will really enable in, really fetching information quickly or approving tasks quickly, getting notified about what actions that are pending from their side. So many different ways in which you can have a simple assistant nudge you to complete tasks on time, and for not just you, for the entire, let's say, sales associates or the sales manager, different personas that we can think of, and them being able to easily collaborate. Another example, and this is probably using flow, is, and I want to paint a scenario over here. It might not be relevant to everyone, but I want you to think of the art of possible here. If, oops, I apologize for slipping the slide, but if, let's say, there is a situation where uh, you need to regularly have documents be reviewed by someone, and once the document is placed in a particular folder, somebody has to go look at that document, get it reviewed, and then inform you that they've reviewed and they've signed off on the document. Now, it's a simple couple of steps, but we don't know if people are checking the file regularly. So as a result, we don't know how quickly these processes might get done. Um, Not able to play that video again. Srinidhi, do you mind just really quickly playing this video? So got a simple example here. In a channel, we can set up a very simple flow where if you're able to upload or drop a file in a particular SharePoint folder, that should automatically nudge someone to have a look at that file. And I'm going to paint a scenario where, let's say, it's a sales associate and they've made a bid, and they want the manager to have a look at this and give a quick sign off. You can see how from the manager's view, they get a little notification from Power, like from using Flow, where we've connected it with the approvals application or the approvals concept, where they're able to quickly review, check what this is, and send the approval. And of course, the employee on this side gets the indication right there that they've already approved it. And you can always go back to that folder and you get an indication as to what the status or sign off status of all these files are. And you can see that this one's approved. And it's a very simple example of how you will have different members or different teams, and you have files that are going through those motions, and how we can cut down on time, how we can push that by making simple connectors that will nudge the right people to complete the tasks all inside of Teams without ever leaving what they were doing. Just a simple nudge to go back to and come back to what they were doing or what they were discussing about. And giving another example, borderline no code, low code, I would say, where we have a lot of simple apps, but that you can use straight off the bat by the App Store, but also app templates that you can use, where we have already developed a whole list of app templates. In fact, we'll drop the link on the chat just after this section, where you can review these app templates. These you can directly deploy and use inside your account using your IT team, or you can tweak them based on your requirements. The app template in its most vanilla version, will solve for a few things, but if you want to use it beyond what's available, it's open source. You can customize it and use it. And I'm just picking an example here where, hey, if you do close and you get the sign off and it's approved, nothing like celebrating your victories and coming together as a team and collaborating also means collaborating over celebrations, not just work, but we have a number of templates to engage your teams, celebrate together, productivity wise, tasks wise, being having virtual assistants for a whole number of them. We have very simple, easy to deploy and ready to like start using for your team. I'd say review them, we'll share the link, and then once you start using them, we'll be good to go. And we can obviously help you along the way. Sorry, got a little distracted there. And I'm gonna quickly leave you with one simple example for custom solutions, which is, let's say you are in a meeting with a customer as a sales member. Wouldn't it be great to have all the context about this particular lead or about this particular opportunities right from your CRM inside the meeting itself? And giving you an example of how we're talking to Mr. Kapoor over here, and I can see, anything related to that opportunity and what's been the customer's journey so far inside your account. This allows you to, share and have contextual conversations with the customer right then and there. And maybe you regularly perform actions with your customers, like let's say you want to share some collaterals or share some files and quickly automate some next steps, we could even bring those in. And this is not something that's available, but this is a envision or of a custom solution that we can build based on your business requirements. If you think something like this is vastly going to enable your sales team to have quicker, easier, faster conversations with your customers, where they can quite simply, let's say, share policy documents in this case, and it's a quick, simple share right there inside the meeting itself. But that's showing you what's the art of possible in terms of when we start to build custom solutions. I'm showing you a quick and easy example, and I would say, in summary, uh, if you are looking to create a single hub for your team, and even if it's beyond your sales team and your customer facing team, you've got ready to use applications. And I would say, and I would repeat myself in saying, go check out the App Store. We've got plenty of apps available for various use cases that you might have. Your low code, no code solutions that are right there for you to capitalize on. I'd say reach out to your point of contact inside of Microsoft, your customer success manager or your account executive. We'd be happy to share more details on, let's say, the Power Platform and how you can capitalize on these simple connectors, which are no code and takes a matter of a few hours to build out what's going to save, I would say, I don't know, tens or hundreds of hours of work on the long run for you and your team. And of course, the elaborate, extensive technology that we have and the layers that we can build if we want to go for a custom solution. Just like the one that I showed, where the lead has all the opportunity related information right inside of the Teams meeting itself. That's a simple idea of how we can build custom solutions. Yes, Radhi, jump in.
Uh, Thanks, Harish, for those awesome scenario examples. One of the questions that came in the chat was about these third-party apps that we showcased, like Zoho or any of the others, right? Adobe, etc. Who sort of develops these integrations? So just thought it'd be good for all the folks for me to cover this. Essentially, these third-party
Yeah.
ISV integrations are built by the ISV itself, leveraging the power of the platform, right, and the team's extensibility points. And these are submitted to our team store, post which they go through a validation and attestation process. And we have all of the data that is shared as part of this available to our customers. I've posted a link in the chat for you to have all the information to decide on when and how you want to enable these integrations for your users. Over and above that, from the Microsoft stack itself, we have Dynamics 365, we have Power BI. All of our Microsoft apps are obviously integrations created in-house and made available to our customers.
Thanks. Sorry,
Harish,
I might have
sorry,
missed out on
Harish.
that question.
This is
Yeah, go
Virendra
for it.
from Adani. Yeah. Sorry, Harish. Actually, this was my question. And thanks, Radhi, for taking this in a forum. Actually, to be very frank with you, Harish, when we, migrated ourselves in this digital journey and migrated on Office 365 as a Adani account, you might know about that. And we started using all these applications, to be very honest with you. But
Okay.
somehow, our cyber security compliances in our group or in our account or our cyber security team who is uh, they are quite afraid about especially these applications like
Okay.
Zoho and other apps. uh, we are good to go and we are keep on using all the applications which are built by Microsoft, like Power
Got you.
BI, what you call SharePoint, and To Do Planner, and all other applications. But for other applications, like they're quite afraid, and somehow we have been asked to hold those applications to continue basically.
Okay.
So
Yeah, Radhi, go for it.
yeah, so Virendra, great that you called this out. We can work with you and your
Yeah.
security team to understand what are the concerns for some of these applications and connect the dots, right? So please feel free to reach out to your CSM, and somebody from Teams Engineering can also come in and help better understand this. We've had some of these conversations with other customers. We have great documented information that can help elevate some of the concerns of your security team.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Radhi. Definitely, I'll
Thank
be.
you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Harish.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And just as we talk about like custom solutions and building more, I'd say the next few segments are going to be some great art of the possible ideas that we have, to see if these spark ideas and they resonate with your organization. And I would love to invite one of my favorite colleagues over to have a chat with you guys and showcase what happens when we talk about, having an informed associate when they are in a customer facing role. My man Aryak, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Harish. Thanks, Harish, and thanks for that great setup. Appreciate that. Cool. So in line with the theme today around engaging customers, how can collaborative apps on Teams actually help drive better customer experiences? And as markets open up, as the world basically opens up, and with more face-to-face interactions between customers and customer support agents, and in this post-COVID world, these face-to-face interactions are even more influenced by the online experiences that these customers have had, given that a decade of digital transformation has happened in these couple of in about a couple of years. When customers do step into a situation where they are face to face with a customer support agent, they basically, let's take the example of retail. That's an industry that everybody sort of relates with. When you step into an environment and are being supported or expect to be supported, get some assistance, you need to have all of those conveniences that the customer has been used to in terms of finding a large collection, making a quick selection out of that collection, and finding the best price and offers that make sense for them. I'm going to request control and see if I can move to the next slide. Okay. So for this example on how collaborative apps can actually help elevate the customer experience, I'm basically going to be sharing a solution blueprint. Now, this is an art of the possible solution blueprint on what a collaborative apps that helps retailers basically take their face-to-face customer interactions or customer support interactions to the next level. But it easily applies to any other situation where there is a face-to-face interaction. Maybe it's a manufacturing experience center, or it's an auto sales area, or maybe any other situations where in the public sector or in government, where actually looking at citizen services, where folks are actually walking into an office and they have multiple counters to go to and multiple services from the same location. So for the purpose of this example, let's take a situation where a customer basically walks into a multi-branded outlet, in this case Northwind retail chain, which basically sells electronic devices from across brands. And this customer now is looking for a home entertainment system for their newly constructed house. What does the customer experience currently look like? So for any retailer today, probably when the customer actually walks in, they see static notice boards to see and find the right department for themselves. And when they do arrive at that department, they wait to get assisted. When they do finally get assisted, and they tell them why they're here to find a particular product. They will basically then wait for the expert to actually show up to walk them through the various product options. And now not everything would be in the store, and the sales agents would probably try to go ahead and maybe push some fast moving items. And of course, the customer, you don't want to be in a situation where the customer actually has researched more and knows more about the products and offerings from the company than the customer associate themselves. So let's see how a Teams collaborative app can actually elevate this experience. So when the customer actually walks in, we basically have they're basically greeted by a customer assistance champion that's basically enabled with a tablet or a mobile device with Teams, and they're able to have a quick chat with the customer and find out why what's the purpose of their visit and what they would like to accomplish in this visit. As they're doing that, they could navigate to a team where all of the store associates are added, and using a messaging extension like you see here, basically go ahead and find out the purpose of their visit and create a support ticket for them, adding in very minimal detail like their name and phone number. And as they do that, the phone number actually serves as their unique identifier to basically see if this customer is a returning customer, if they've actually been to the store before, and are there any previous purchases. And this is done via backend integration to the existing CRM system. So the CRM system here serves as that system of record from where these details or insights show up and inform the customer care associate on this particular customer. So the support ticket is actually created and submitted. Now that support ticket actually goes ahead and lands as a notification in that in the channel where all of the associates are added. And because this is about this customer ticket is about a purchase of a home theater system, the relevant tags in this example being smart speakers, smart TV, home entertainment systems do get added, which help the relevant customer care associates to pick this up and change the status as assigned to themselves. In this case, Roy, who's an expert in home entertainment systems, basically picks this up, assigns the ticket to themselves, changes the status to assign to me. And you can see this experience is actually enabled on a tablet as well as on a mobile device based on the kind of device landscape that we have at that particular customer. Now, as they make that change and get the ticket assigned to themselves, they're actually greeted with an adaptive card in the personal scope app. This personal scope app basically then helps identify if this customer is a returning customer. And now this is where the team's collaborative app experience sort of kicks in, and they're able to find what are some of the available products or available offerings that they have. Or any relevant promotions that they have. So if while this face-to-face interaction is taking place, it can be assisted and elevated by finding out what's the entire range of home entertainment systems that this store has. And as with online experiences, so here basically just spending a time on the platform features here. In the personal scope, the Roy is basically greeted with this carousel kind of adaptive card that helps them swipe through various options of what's available, and also while they're talking to the customer and showing them around the actual demo pieces on display, also show them other pieces that may or may not be in the store but might actually match preferences for the customer a little better. Now, as that discussion is happening, of course, the customer expects to find the best kind of overview, any specifications or questions that they might have, and what's the relevant offers. Again, that whole point around having a large selection, making a quick selection on that collection, and then finding the best price and offers that are on display. So when this interaction actually goes through and they're able to showcase all of the detail and maybe convince them on one particular product, the customer care associate can go ahead and book that product for them. And of course, they would not like to take the demo piece home, probably something that's in the back, and that this app actually enables closing of the request and basically submitting a request for the inventory associates to basically pick this up and deliver to the cash out desk as the request is submitted. However, just as with online experiences, when you do make a large purchase, there are of course some ancillary products that you would or offerings that the customer would be interested in. And in this case, for a home theater system, they might be interested in mood lighting, they might be interested in other speakers or wall mounts. And let's say the customer is now interested in another line around maybe smart lighting or mood lighting to go with the home theater system. The customer care associate, the home entertainment professional can actually use the same adaptive card and basically change status on that adaptive card to send it to the relevant group or maybe the same channel where another expert that's basically an expert in mood lighting can actually pick up the experience from there. So that experience of waiting for the other person, not finding the expert is actually goes away. And the other person, the newer person that comes up for mood lighting is able to assist them. Similarly, go ahead and close the transaction with them. And now let's say the journey is completed. They bought the main product, all the ancillary products that they wanted to buy. They now will be presented with a customer satisfaction survey to finally get some feedback. Maybe at this point the customer care associate hands over opens the survey through this adaptive card here and hands it over to the customer to basically fill it with them, or basically talks them through the survey and fills it up for them as they go along. Now, all of these transactions, the sales transactions are happening, the store managers basically would need to keep a check on the on operations and on inventory, and the store manager would basically as at any time, if for a particular SKU the set threshold gets below their set levels, they would actually go ahead and get a notification to be able to view where they are in terms of the SKUs, or even order SKUs. And this also opens up opportunities to maybe have other integrations beyond CRM to maybe to the inventory system, or maybe to the other ordering and procurement systems, which sends orders directly to their suppliers, or maybe to an upstream warehouse from where this delivery needs to happen. So quickly some sharing some key design considerations of the platform constructs that helped bring in this experience. We saw a messaging extension. So we saw a team where all of the customer care associates in that multi-department store were added, and the messaging extension basically helped the customer care associate right at the start to go ahead and create that ticket for them, right in the context of the team in the team chat while having that conversation. We saw task modules for the customer satisfaction survey, viewing the product details, reserving the product use cases in order to take quick actions. And task modules are specifically helpful when we want to display when there is a notification that comes in, but the buttons actually need to display certain content for a brief amount of time. For example, the customer experience survey that gets displayed, but once the survey is done, there's no need to have it on again. You could close that out. Task modules help deliver that experience. And of course, with adaptive cards, with the carousel set of cards to browse to the various options, and the card refreshes to see the various status in which this request currently is, or the digest kind of cards that helped to see the various ancillary products that are available for this customer, allows for this immersive experience for store associates and also for customers who like to get more details on the product that they're buying. Now, like I said earlier, this is not an existing app inside of Teams. This is not an experience that this is basically this is not a feature. This is not an app. This is basically a solution blueprint and shows the art of possible of what can be done. So for any face-to-face interaction where a customer support agent is actually helping out customer, collaborative app experiences like these can help elevate that conversation, deliver a better customer experience. Leaving you with the solution architecture where all the insights about the customer came in from the CRM and from the inventory database in terms of inventory of the products, and also the product knowledge management database where specifications, overview, etc. came in and delivered that experience through the bot messaging extension and task module and the adaptive cards to the store associate to be able to deliver that experience. Now, this was an example of when collaborative apps helped to deliver an experience when the customer was right in front of the customer care associate. But what happens when customers actually would like to engage online through maybe channels that they're used to? For that, let me call upon Karan to take you through how these experiences can be elevated. Over to you, Karan.
Thanks, Arik. Morning, everyone. Just requesting control. Yeah, I think this is a great segue into what probably is reality for most industries and any verticals, many organizations, and some of the things that we keep hearing from our customers very actively is post-COVID, we want to maintain business continuity. All the physical touch points that we had earlier, some of them have sort of moved away. But we still want to make sure that we give that customer assistance and the services that we give our customers at various touch points, whether it's initial sales, account management, or support, should continue to happen in a very effective and secure manner. That's essentially the gist of what I'll be covering today. Just making sure that control is here. Yeah. I think, and before I delve deeper into it, just want to make everyone understand how we understand virtual consult and what's the essence behind this particular topic, and the key value add that teams can present here. So virtual consult can refer to scenarios where your end citizen consumers or your businesses, your partners, vendors, they would want to connect with a specific SME or some sort of a relationship manager, a support agent on the go to provide help or solve any specific problem. And this is a pretty broad definition. It encompasses a lot of scenarios. Today it's pretty clear that most industries, most verticals already have such support systems and connects which exist today. But we feel, and a lot of our customers feel, that it does require certain transformation. It requires improvement. And broadly, the few important reasons why that's needed is because, first of all, in pre-COVID world, let's say there were a lot of physical touch points to actually have these consults, these meetings, which are probably not possible anymore. It's not prudent for either the customer or the end consumer to actually meet that regularly. Processes and collaboration are not very active in the current processes. These calls and consults happen in silos, one-on-one. There's very limited visibility into the whole aspect of this consult amongst the whole team members, right? It's just a one-on-one consult, and how do you take that information back? How do you secure the data that you share is also not necessarily very compliant and secure. These are one of the few reasons why it requires transformation. And to shed more light on virtual consult, just to add more flavor, some sample scenarios to get your mind ticking. Banking and finance, we've heard a lot of scenarios from our customers. They're actively pursuing these opportunities and different stages of what they're building and different scenarios. But just to give you an example, if existing bank customers would want to connect to their relationship managers, if you talk about retail, and Arya covered a lot of it, if there is an avid shopper who would like to, and there is a big chunk of people who want to make sure they want to visualize what they want before they actually make the purchase, before they make that decision, they would love to see these through a virtual consult. They would like to see the products before they actually make the purchase, right? And because they cannot go into the shop, these solutions, these technologies, the teams and other features offer really help there. Insurance is straightforward as well. My car has broken down. I want to make sure that the insurance agent is aligned and connected on the go. My insurance is needs to be updated. Can I get that connect as soon as possible? Again, very important one. And also hearing certain scenarios from government organizations as well, where you would want maybe, let's say, some of your ID cards updated, KYC done, facial recognition, bunch of services that usually require physical touch points can be avoided now. Before we move on to how teams help, just to share the lay of the land, what do we mean by virtual consult and how it happens? It's pretty simple, and I know that most industries, most of you are probably already doing this, but it's essentially connecting these citizen end users to your SMEs, which are sitting in offices or probably in specific silos, right? And there are different outreach channels. Today, there are industries that where consumers connect through their websites, through bots or through forms. They have applications where there are invoking actions to connect with a customer care or their relationship managers. A lot of organizations have also extended the support to social media. That's another one where the consumers are always sitting active and would love to reach out to their partners or business connects. And lastly, there are some businesses that can also power these connects through SMSs, right? I can just message help to a certain number and then I get some sort of help beyond that. And what's another thing which is common is the communication method. Your customers can ask for video calls. Your customers can expect just audio or just support just through chat. Right? It totally depends on your scenario and what the customer expectation is. Now, considering that most of you here, your employees are sitting on Teams, and probably the teams that manage customer connects are also using Teams, we want to make sure that we connect these citizen users to your SMEs using Teams. And the value adds that you get here is, first of all, you can have FAQ bots or certain touch points before the leads actually hit SMEs. Rather than tackling 100 leads or 100 tickets a day, you can actually shorten it to just 50 just by using a proactive bot that helps you answer some frequently asked questions. You can have customer insights for businesses, so your SMEs don't go into calls blind. They would probably get to know some information from the CRM. They have proactive notifications about the customer who's pinging you. that captures certain aspects of the questions that they have, so that the SMEs are better prepared. You can today have tabs of all the collaterals that you might want to use during the call as well, right there before the call and during the call, maybe using meeting extensibilities or just a simple tab in a channel as well. And then obviously rostering mechanism, this is where the collaborative aspect comes into play. You can have a team or a channel of agents sitting together, and whatever incoming queries that they can easily route it to specific people versus assigning it to certain set of people. And lastly, sharing information on these calls, we want to make sure that they're super secure and the right kind of information goes out of the organization versus what comes in. So start off with just dwelling a little deeper into the outreach channels, as I already discussed. Here are some very common basic examples. You can have banks where people are reaching out to you through the website. You can have branded mobile applications. You can have social media channels where you're reaching out to get some support on the go. And then you also have WhatsApp banking. That's another common one that we see and we hear from our customers as well. So it doesn't matter how your customer actually is trying to reach out to you. What's important is how do you queue those messages on time? How do you action it out in a secure manner? And how do you collaborate on it with your team members? If anyone has any questions, feel free to stop. So some example screens here just to show the experience, what Teams can help you achieve. Here, what you see is the citizen end user interface, maybe on a chat, a mobile application or a website that they're trying to connect with their respective agent. The Teams solution or the application allows to capture this information in a nice adaptive card. You have broad points listed right here, the information about your consumer, the query that they have, and also the request for setting up a time at a specific slot. And what's happening now is the agent is essentially creating scheduling a session to join a call with this consumer, and the same request goes back to the application or the website. And finally, both users join the call and have the meeting on Teams in a very secure manner. They're able to capture the notes, share information in a secure manner. And then whatever's happening before the call and after the call, it's very clearly captured by the application on Teams. So it's very readily available for the rest of the team. It's available for the managers to view. And the whole ticketing system is also very clearly mentioned that, hey, we have 10 tickets in the queue and 5 of them are actually getting actioned out and the rest of them we're still figuring out, and we will be assigning it to some people. And one of the ways you can achieve this is just like my colleagues talked about certain low-code solutions. We have a template today that allows you to do that, which is called the Appointment Manager. And essentially what this is a Teams app template that helps businesses create, manage, conduct virtual appointments with consumers using Teams. The new appointment requests that come in from the consumers can be visible in Teams channels where they can quickly reassign to their staff members in a channel full of their team members. And usually the typical goals is through this particular app, the admins can configure different appointment categories that are routed to different Teams channels. So if there are 10, 12, 20 broad spectrums of support channels, let's say, you want to make sure that it reaches the right team member, it reaches the right queue, and that's how this template actually helps you achieve that. It's powered through. It's basically built on Power Apps. It requires it gives you proactive notifications. It gives you action cards which can be used, adaptive cards that can be used in individual scope and in channel scope that you see here. And it's very easy to deploy and use, and obviously easy to customize and extend it just to suit your specific scenario as well. Now, this is pretty standard. You have your agent on Teams. You're expecting your customer to also join on Teams. What if certain businesses want a little more customized experience where you do not really want to show your customer, first of all, that, hey, I'm powering my meetings or these connects using Teams. You also don't want them to shift context from whatever property or native app or website that they're using. Then how do you go about it? So certain examples about this, again, using the core platform components that we have. So here in this screen, what you see is an incoming customer request. which is captured through chat service, and it's been posted in a personal scope application that you see here called CRM Leads, where it captures the customer information very briefly. The adaptive card gives you an option of viewing the lead, changing the status, and also scheduling a call. And what we can do here is, when we talk about collaboration and not just having these calls one-on-one, very private, is to, if the scenario requires you to connect with certain experts on this topic and the specific agent is not really sure, they can actually invite the experts on this call as well, just by invoking a task module that you see here. So single 2 clicks of a button and you have the invite going both to the customer and to the expert in one go. And the experience that your end customer is seeing here is that what about scenarios where you want to embed this experience inside your app and website, just like I mentioned. So what's happening here is there is a banking application where there is an option to connect with your agent. It essentially invokes a bot that captures some basic information that what do you want to connect about, what is your specific query, and this helps the solution to route the query in a specific channel. What's happening is, once this information is collected, it goes back to the CRM Leads application on Teams. Again, we have the adaptive card, we've sent the invite, and both consumers and the agent are joining the Teams call. But the big difference here is your end customer is actually joining the call on your native application without shifting context, without really having to install another app, or maybe just even understanding what's going at the back end. And your agent is actually on Teams, again pulling the same meeting extensibility, where you have the application giving you further insights during the call as well. Now, it's a broad spectrum, a lot of things to consider, but a simple framework to go about this would be, once you have your scenario listed down based on your industry, based on how do you want to connect with your customers, you want to maybe understand what's the most popular communication channels for your customer. Are they most active on social media? And is your agent team also very active on social media, or an application that you have, or a website that you have? Or maybe it's just based on SMS, right? It totally doesn't entirely matter. What's important is to understand that you are connecting these guys. And once you have the communication channels noted, you also want to think about what should be the customer interface. Should my customer be taking the call on Teams, or would I rather have the customer actually get an embedded experience inside my own application? If my customer spends a time on a specific website or an application that they use that I have built, I think it's prudent for me to just embed that experience right there. And that's possible too. And the options based on your scenario totally depends. If you're going for low-code template solutions and you want the customer interface to be Teams, you can use the templates that we have. Or if you want a little more custom solutions, you can actually build the experience that I showed. And again, that's just, those are screens, those are ideas, everything can be totally customized. And some other considerations that an additional value as that come in with Teams is, if you want to make sure that all calls and chats are recorded, we can provide compliance recording. You can have post-consult or meeting analysis done by capturing all the information through this application in one place. You can have ticketing dashboard for the whole team to view, adding another layer of collaboration so that it's not super personal, and your managers and your team, everyone gets a clear view of it as well. With that, we want to move on to the next segment, which is customer support. And to cover this, we've invited one of our close partners, Microsoft Gold partners, known as CX Unicorn. They are really transforming a lot of such scenarios when it comes to customer connects, customer support. And they're working very closely with different industries, specifically banking, healthcare, even some certain government organizations in different countries. And they have certain IPs that have really helped their customers achieve customer support using Teams and using platform capabilities. I would love for them to join in and share the experience with the rest of us.
Right. Hello, everybody. This is Nikita. I'm from Tech Unicorn, the gold partner that Karan's very kindly introduced us as. I will be walking you through one of our products called Rise, and specifically more around the WhatsApp integration capability that we think really drives value for a lot of the businesses and our clients that we have worked with. A quick summary of the application is that the goal for the application is to increase customer touch points and to simply simplify the customer service experience by having WhatsApp integration where you can quickly have a meeting scheduled through a bot interaction. You can receive customer documentation and you can also chat with customers through Microsoft Teams while the customers interface through WhatsApp itself. The use case workflows goes something like this, where we have considered the obvious two user roles being either the customer service agent or the relationship manager in the FSI use case and the customer. The journey starts with the CSA initiating by creating a meeting on Microsoft Teams, and a link is then sent to the customer. Now, again, as Karan did mention, the customer does not necessarily need to have Teams downloaded. They would simply access the link, and the session would open up in a browser. They continue the session to their browser, and we have the agent joining in through Microsoft Teams. Again, through this experience, throughout the meeting, the customer can also have files shared with the agent, and the agent can receive these files on Teams. Here are some mock-ups to kind of give you more context around the journey. This is the bot interface that we have where the CSA essentially enters the relevant details and sends out a meeting invite to the customer. The customer then receives it on WhatsApp like so. The customer can also then send files, and the bot for the customer service agent would sort of send it prior to having it downloaded for the agent. The bot requests for permission to allow for the download or not. Again, this is just around compliance purposes, and I'll be showing you a live demo in a little bit for the same. Some additional features on top of this is, again, having this embedded within your native application where customers can have the file sharing features, image sharing, location sharing, voice notes, etc. Accessible to them. Again, where you're not kind of moving the customer around too much. The customer uses a interface that is preferred and easier for them to access. Here are some of the other use cases that we have worked on, right, where we have built dashboards for the customer to give them more of a visual experience on how their customer service is doing, the average meeting time, and bringing in an omni-channel experience where they can also see the interactions that are happening through the application in terms of the number of calls, the call quality, the number of calls coming in or queries coming in through WhatsApp, and just generally per agent support skill report on how each agent is performing. And also the application also ensures that every session with the customer is auto-recorded and again can be saved either on cloud or on-prem based on your preferences. And we've also created an interface for some of our clients to be able to quickly have access to all of these sessions.
Nikita, just a quick question. So the customers that you're working with, I'm fairly sure that the experience is not just limited to WhatsApp, right? Like I'm sure you have examples where other social media channels or certain examples that we spoke about that the customer being on the website or the application and invoking that customer connect through that channel. I'm sure this particular IP can be replicated there as well.
Absolutely, that is correct. So as I had mentioned earlier, you can have the customer interfacing either through your native application, through your website itself, through Facebook Messenger, or through WhatsApp. Yeah.
Got it.
I'm actually going to pause here for a bit prior to the live demo for any questions that anybody may have regarding the solution journey or the application itself.
I'm having one question. This is Virendra. Yeah, are these applications will be integrated, separately in the teams, or how the deployment will happen? We need outside support, or we need a SME support to deploy or integrate these applications inside the teams, or it can be ready to connect with the teams directly.
Right. So how we work for the deployment itself, we would engage with you as a partner and have the application deployed onto your tenant, onto your subscription. So the deployment period would be about a day or day and a half. And then we would have a week for testing to make sure the application works fine. And then you can feel free to move it to production as you feel fit.
Okay.
And Virendra, just to add to that, right? I mean, it essentially depends on the scenario that you have. And before we get to the solutioning aspect, we can always help you identify first of all, understand the business problem clearly, and then suggest. Like I mentioned, there are some template solutions, low code solutions. But if you're looking for a scenario where a little more customization is required, and maybe an embed experience is required for your customer, that's when we can think of maybe looping the partner in, or just thinking of building a custom application. But there are various options, and it all boils down to the scenario that you have.
Yeah, I'm not talking about, suppose if I'm talking about other application like which you have showcased, like appointment manager and other applications. So those templates are ready to use. Means suppose I wanted to integrate one application right away, like this appointment manager, right?
Mhm.
So the ready to use template is there. So can we integrate from our own, or we need anything to, anyone to call and integrate on our tenant? And after that it
Uh,
will be rolled out for the end users.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can try use, we have the whole documentation clearly listed out, the steps to actually deploy that template, even some recommendations on customizing it. But you can totally try to do that yourself. And if there is help needed, of course, like you can reach out to us and we can get you the dev support required as well.
So any end user, suppose any business user or sales team or any team, any department, finance department, will be able to add from their own as an end user, or first of all we need to integrate in our tenant, and after that it will be
Yeah.
visible to all the users.
Yeah, so Virendra, app templates are basically ready to deploy coded integrations. So the first step would be somebody from your internal dev team following
Hmm.
the guidance and deploying this app in your tenant, post
Okay.
which you can make it available in the team store for business users within your company to pick up and install it for themselves and specific teams, etc.
Okay, it will not be ready to use directly for the end users. First of all, we need to deploy in our tenant, and after that,
Correct.
it will be accessible through the mass rollout for the end users, right?
Correct. Correct.
Correct.
Correct.
Correct. So
Right.
once you
Got it.
have it
Thank you so much. Yeah.
installed in your account or deployed, if you're okay with the template and the template looks good and it, like Karan mentioned, it solves for the business scenario, you can
Uh,
deploy it, ensure that it looks good, and then what do you say as like you mentioned, a rollout, or you can publish it so that everybody in the organization then can start using it.
okay, okay. And for that, we need to connect you with your team, or I'll be connecting with you, Harish, for any
Yeah, you can
specific
connect with
template which I
us,
like to have.
or I mean, the deployment guide allows you to actually do it end to end, where you can also publish. But of course, if you're doing it for the first time, you can definitely connect with us, and we can help out.
Okay, SOP and all the procedures are already mentioned, so we can go and we can start integrating on tenant from our own as a BUIT team
Yes,
or
you
as
can
a
try
when
it
you
first. Yeah, as your IT team, you can try it out first, and of course, reach out to us. And once you've deployed one, you will understand what the steps would be involved for everything else that you want to solve for.
Sure, Harish. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
And,
Thank you.
and Virendra, the guidance here is same for any app template, and there are quite a few templates that I think Radhi and others have shared. So any app deployment template that you find is a good use case. You can do the same for them as well.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. We'll start from the one, and after that, we will start rolling out or publishing or integrating as per the business requirement. Yeah, sure, Karan. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Back to you, Nikita.
Right then, if there are no further questions, I will just go ahead and
Yeah,
share my
sorry,
screen.
Nikita, taking your time in between. Thank
No
you.
problem, no problem. That's okay. So
Thank you so
give
much.
me a second. Allow me to share my screen and just show you how the experience looks on WhatsApp. In a moment. All right. So here we have an existing bot that the customer has interacted with earlier. But the idea again is that the bot can also send proactive notifications. Now, if I'm an existing customer with the organization, I could maybe ask the bot when is my meeting. And the bot is then expected to respond with the next scheduled meeting with the relationship manager in this case. And if it's a session that the CSA may have scheduled prior in advance with the customer, maybe after a phone call, the bot can even proactively have this message sent to the customer. Now, as a customer, I can simply click on this link, and as you can see, the session opens up on a browser. I can choose to enable my mic and my camera. I'm going to switch off the camera for now. Enter my details. Now, in terms of the look and feel for this interface can be completely customized. The customer can select which camera they want to use from their device with speakerphone, and they can initiate the call. Right. Once the call is initiated, essentially it would connect with the customer service agent. So currently I'm connected with my colleague Aranyak, and this is how it looks. Again, we can completely have this customized in terms of the video layout itself, but this is just to give you an idea of how it looks. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and get my colleague AK to share the screen instead, who would then show how the agent would receive the call. Right. So the agent can see me, and I've joined as the customer, and the agent can see me from within Microsoft Teams, and this is a call that he's having on Microsoft Teams. Now, in addition to this,
yeah, sorry, Nikita. I just wanted to ask something. Do you have a view of what the agent actually sees as the incoming request from the customer? And the next question is that specific bot that the user is using on WhatsApp, is there a FAQ that goes on, or is there a live chat functionality between the agent and the end customer as well using your bot?
sorry, I lost you there for a bit, Karan. Would you mind repeating the second half of what you mentioned?
Yeah, basically what I was asking was, so we saw the experience where the customer is able to understand when the next call is and click the link and join. But does the bot also power a live chat experience?
Yes. So the bot also sort of initiates a call for the agent itself when a customer initiates a request. So there are two ways to go about with this. If it's a pre-scheduled call, the agent can simply join in through their calendar. And if it's a sort of impromptu call, the bot would dial in the agent requesting them to join the session. Similar to how if a colleague sort of dials you into a session, the bot would dial you in the same way as well. So we do have both of the experiences.
So Nikita, in this, customer will be joining the call from the WhatsApp, and our agent will be joining the call from the Teams, right?
That is correct.
He doesn't require to the Teams to be installed in his mobile or the computer.
No, the customer has no need to have Microsoft Teams installed on their computer or their desktop. The session will initiate on a browser and they can carry on the session through that. Again, if you want this session to maybe be or the call to be embedded within your website, we can also have that done. So for the customer, the experience is simply clicking on the link and going on through your website and having the call there.
Okay, he has to just click on the link which is there on the WhatsApp, right?
That is good.
And our agent will be joining the team this meeting from the MS Teams application.
One other feature that I would like to also show you on WhatsApp is the ability for the customer to even share files. So in the event of maybe an account opening of some sort, the customer can then also have their files shared through WhatsApp itself. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, now we're able to see it.
So as a customer, I can select any document. And the bot will confirm as soon as it receives the document. Let me share my Teams with you to show you how the bot will receive it. Right. As this is our test environment, that's the reason we have this error on top, but the bot itself is working fine. But you can see here that the bot is requesting for permission prior to initiating download for the file. You can see the name of the file and you can see who is trying to send this to me. I allow and the file gets downloaded. Yeah, I can go ahead and download the file, or I can open it in a browser.
This file has been sent by customer to the agent, right?
Exactly. So as you saw while I was sharing my screen through WhatsApp, I had shared a file to the bot, and the bot has then routed the file to me as the agent. And I've received it on Microsoft Teams. The bot first asked for permission prior to downloading the file. Once I've given it the permission, the file is ready for me to either download on my system or view on a browser.
Nikita, I have another question. I see the personal scope bot here, this application. Just to add more collaboration aspect to, let's say, a team of agents working on such scenarios, is this also available to be used in a channel? Can we use the application in a channel full of agents?
Definitely. That can be done as well. So there is another scenario that we worked on where this is around the customer service team, where we had digitized the entire customer support module, where the organization wanted customers to be able to go to their website and initiate an immediate call. Once this call was initiated, the call would go out in a round robin fashion to all of the customer service agents and finally dialing in the first agent that is available. Again, the entire channel is notified on this call. Any sort of files that are being shared with the customers can be accessed by the manager as well. They can have a collaborative experience by pulling in another CSA should they require additional support with the engagement of the customer. So yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, that's a great scenario, and I think it's agnostic of vertical as well. I'm sure there are customers from all segments, right? Like healthcare, retail, banking, that are inquiring and trying to build this with you.
Right.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much, Nikita, and your team from CX Unicorn for joining us today. And thank you so much to everybody else also. We're right at the edge of the session. It was fantastic having all of you. I hope some of the ideas that were shared here has sparked some ideas in you. Please feel free to reach out to your the CSM who's talking to you already. And we've also shared a form. We will reshare it now on the chat again. Please feel free to use that form to reach out to us if you want to build more collaborative apps inside your organization. We would love to connect with you, understand your requirements, and enable you. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you at the next roundtable. This has been fantastic. And thanks to everybody who was involved here to make this happen. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Harish.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.